remember how we talked about Javi being married now? Well, his wife Lauren did a Q&A on Instagram, and this is so embarrassing because I was supposed to have downloaded the photos, put it in the StreamYard, but I didn't do it, right? I don't know what's, sometimes I completely forget things. Anyway, I do have the screenshots, and I'm going to take you into my email inbox because I tried to airdrop them to myself, but they're not airdropping, right? So let's go into my email inbox and take a look at them together so that we can go over what it is that she had to say before I forget, right? Because this story was really shocking to a lot of you guys, the fact that they actually even did full-blown get married after all of the affairs that Javi had on Lauren, and then the way that he taunted her on social media with his ex-wife, Kale, and then she attacked him and caught like some sort of like restraining order. Did she get criminal charges for that? For allegedly, getting physical with him and whatnot? No, let me know. But just all of that, just to turn around and marry this man is so crazy, truly, right? So here it is. So this is some of the stuff that she revealed in her Q&A, okay? Someone said, I'm getting married in September. How do you wear your rings? And Lauren posts a picture of her rings. Remember, he had to replace the old engagement ring when he cheated. Actually, a great question. One that I've been having conversations about in my DMs today. So she puts the wedding ring closest to her and the engagement ring on top. And then people ask what kind of ring Javi was wearing, right? And so this is the official ring that he has, wedding ring. However, because he works out a lot, he wears a rubber ring most of the time. And then people were asking why the parents, there's no family at this wedding, right? And so she has this huge explanation, which is essentially Javi's mom didn't come because she already saw him get married once. The only reason my dad was there was because we do this annual trip with him anyway, to this beach or whatever. I don't know, y'all. I think that the truth is that her family is not thrilled that she decided to go ahead and marry this chronic cheater. And I think that his family knows he ain't shit. So they're not going to go spend their money to travel to celebrate his wedding, knowing that he's probably going to go back to doing what he does. Right. And they also say that they're apparently going to have this big wedding in June. So let's keep an eye out for that. Okay. So here's her exact quote. Only my dad, our kids, and our pastor were there. The trip with my dad was planned before the wedding. I'll do a story another time about how we ended up deciding to do it on this trip. And it's a trip we do annually with him. We have a reception planned for this summer with family and friends. They were fully supportive of this, and Javi's mom has got to experience his first already. So there was no issues. We wanted it to be something special for the boys and something intimate for our family and for my dad to walk me down the aisle. All right, girl. All right, girl, whatever you have to tell yourself. So then she talked about traveling across the country with her dress and how the people at the airline were really nice to her. Like they let her use like the closet that they've got over there for themselves and whatnot. And so there she is steaming her dress. And oh Lord, could she ever talk, right? Why did you guys buy instead of rent in Virginia? And so initially they were supposed to be renting near the base and whatnot, but it wasn't a great area, a safe area or something. And so they decided to just go ahead and purchase something. And then what else did somebody ask? Will you wear the dress to the reception or do a new dress? I'm obsessed. And she says both. I'm going to wear it for family photos and the beginning of the reception. And then I'll change into something lighter and easier to dance in. So, that's nice that she's going to get multiple uses out of her wedding dress. It's a very beautiful dress. So why not go ahead and wear it a second time? This time, for your family and friends to see you in it, right? And so the reason why they got married on that particular date, the 24th of April, was no particular reason other than it was when their photographer was available. She also showed herself getting her makeup done. People asked if she did her own makeup, but that wasn't the case. Here's Javi with the boys, very nice picture, all very well dressed up and whatnot. And then there was another question here. Since y'all moved, how is Javi go doing it to get Lincoln? I don't know what that means. And how do you guys like it there? We haven't moved yet. Jose, which is Javi, his name is Jose Javier, has to report today and will be back and forth for a couple months. And then we will go down after the boys are out of school. Javi has a post on his feed that goes into more detail. And we also did a podcast episode where they covered the entire move and you schedule for those who missed it originally. Listen, she's not going to drop Kale's podcast name and give her any free promo. Absolutely not. That's how you know they still have some low-key beef, eh? And so this is her father walking her down the aisle with his granddaughter, her daughter, Macy, in his other hand. And I think it's so cute. That's a really beautiful photo. And the daughter is adorable. So there's the picture, the daddy's daughter picture. And that is all she wrote over there on Instagram. Sorry, I had to bring y'all into my email inbox for that. I should have had it already uploaded. But listen, I am such a little bit, I'm just so excited about the good weather. That's all I think about. East Awesome says, Javi has a nice smile. P.S. I don't watch the show. I'm judging by the pics you guys share. And he does have a nice smile. He and the kids do seem to be very happy. And, I agree with you, Coconut Culk, that I don't think his mom's all that happy about it. Missing out on your son's wedding to that chick he's been dating. Who wanted to hear me say this? I think it's JAV, to his long-suffering fiance. And your excuse for not going is not that you're unavailable or you don't have money. It's, I already went to his other wedding. That's crazy. I don't know if that's a good excuse. Acacia says their families definitely didn't support the marriage. Exactly. I don't think, and listen, can we blame them? I don't think it's a good, listen, it's her life, her decision, right? But if I were her family, like if that were my sister, would I go? You hear stories about like family members, right, Nikki? And I don't know why they don't like her. She's been suffering because of their trifling ass son. They should worship her for sticking around. Can I ask you guys, have you ever had to like do that, to actually like full blown boycott a loved one, whether it's a family member or a friend's wedding? Like they were going to marry someone that you knew was not a good idea. Either the person was abusive or just a terrible match for them. They invite you to the wedding and you just don't go because you do not support the union. Has that happened to you? I'm trying to think no, I don't think that's happened to me. I feel like sometimes, when your friends get into these terrible, toxic relationships, the friendship breaks down before, it even gets to the point where they want to marry each other. Like I told you guys about the friend I had here who has been dating a married man for 3 years now, and to me, just the whole like dating a married man. And this is the second married, like I didn't know her when she was dating that first married man, but to me, it was just too much. I said, listen, I'm not like, this is weird. I don't support this type of stuff. So, if he were to eventually divorce his wife and marry her, I wouldn't be there because we're not friends anymore. You know what I mean? Hey, Angelica, nice to see you. An actual live morning report. I just got off work early to do errands. Love that. And we've got lots more to talk about today. So you're in luck today too. Yeah, nice to see you, Angelica. Caroline, you had to stand on business. It sucks, doesn't it? Right? It really, really does. Because you love these people. You want to support these people and you want them to be happy. But then they're making these decisions that are like, damn, it's not smart. East Austin says, my mom skipped my second brother's wedding. Oh, really? She made really? His side was empty? Do you mind spilling the tea? What happened? Why? Well, was it the wife that was wrong? Or was it your brother that wasn't like a good partner? Like, what's the tea? Damn. Here's one thing. It's one thing for you to not want to go, but then you like push everybody else to not go, like, damn, like she really didn't want that thing to happen, right? I feel like you told some stories about your brother, East Awesome. Like, I think you're saying something about him. Like he's been married multiple times and then he's got kids with, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But we're talking about that. Like he's got like kind of like, a bunch of kids or something like that. Is that why? Steph says, yes, I've done that to my best friend. Oh my God. I imagine that it was so painful, right? So oh! Steph didn't go because she got married at 17 to a man that's 8 years. Oh, Lord, thank God you did not go. We do not support pedophilia. That is crazy. Oh, my God. And did her parents show up to that? Her family didn't talk her out of it? That's so sad. Jaleesa says, I would still go because it's not my life to dictate it. If she likes it, I love it. And I get that too, wanting to just be there to support. But sometimes something's happening that's just so, it just pains you, the idea. East Awesome says, yes, it's the same brother that later stole from me. Oh, yes, there you go. Listen, I don't know what kind of issues that man has. I'm sorry, East Awesome. Your mom was right. And it must have been heartbreaking for her because for her to like not go and whatnot. Like, it sounds like she wanted to raise him, you know, and she did raise him like well and right and to do the right thing. And unfortunately, it's devastating to see him not go down that path that she set for him, you know, and it sucks. It really does. Shem, I talk about this all the time. You don't remember? Yeah. She was like my first friend that I made here in Paris, you know, and I still remember because at the time, I had just arrived, right? And so like I was still learning French and whatnot. And so I remember before our first, because I met her on Bumble BFF, before our first meeting, I would be studying like, little phrases in French. So like, because she doesn't speak a word of English either, right? So I was like, oh my God, like if she asked me about this, I'll be able to, like I was studying, French before a meeting with her. That's how I was at the time, anytime I do it, grocery shop, anything, I'd be like, what is the word for this? Like, oh my God, those times are so crazy to even think about now. But yeah. And it's the second time she does that, right? And she's still with him, eh? And he's still promising to leave that wife of his someday. Coconut Cut says, I didn't support my BFF's wedding, but I showed up for her. You know what? Yeah. And I get people like you and Jaleesa who still do show up nonetheless, even if you don't support something, right? It sucks. It sucks. Bunny says, my sister married a man with 4 babies. Oh, Lord, who came from a family of leeches. No, his sister moved into a neighbor's home and ended up sleeping with it. Oh, how do people like see these kinds of red flags and keep going forward and trying to like, oh my, you want to legally tie yourself to that? Jesus, the whole bloodline's a mess, right? Like what? Absolutely not. Joy says, it's never happened to me, but it would take a lot for me to attend the wedding, right? Like you don't want to go and like bring your sad vibes or your like vibes of just non-support, so sometimes it's better to just stay home.